Hey guys, Jen here. Welcome to Live with Jen B. Today is digital authorpreneurship. So today I just wanted to do a quick video on taxes and being an authorpreneur. So I will just add, I'm not a tax professional. I'm not even a tax expert in any way, shape, or form. But I just wanted to do this quickly because I think, well, number one, it's on my mind today because I have a tax appointment next week. It was supposed to be today. It got rescheduled for next week. And so I was working on it earlier today and getting stressed out because it's always just a stressful time of year. But this year is better than last year because I actually have some stuff in order now. So I'm going to just sort of run down some things to help you with when you either get started with your authorpreneur business. So actually, making money from your books, making money from your writing, at some point you have to start dealing with all the tax shit. So first of all, and again, I'm not a tax pro, so I'm just going by what I know, what I've learned from my own accountant and over the years of things that I've done. But definitely check with your own accountant or find somebody who knows about taxes to ask this stuff for. Don't just assume anything. Saying that all now so that, we're clear. Okay, so the first thing I would say is that you have 3 years, once you officially start your business and actually call yourself, a writer and an author, and this is your writing business, you have 3 years to prove a profit before they'll call it a hobby and say you can't have it as a business until you start making profit. So you have 3 years, but in the meantime, you can write off a lot of stuff that you're using to actually grow your business, to get yourself out there as an author, and all of that stuff. So the very first thing I would say with all of this is make sure you have a really, really good money tracking system. So this was a mistake that I made for the first 3 years of my business. 3 years of my full-time business. So I previously, when I had a day job, I didn't have to worry too much about this because I had, W-2s and that kind of thing. But now I don't have that anymore. So it's like I'm all on my own for this stuff. So the first thing is have a really good money tracking system because I didn't for the first 3 years that I was a full-time entrepreneur. And it was a huge problem at tax season because what ended up happening was then I would have to go back through hundreds and hundreds of pages of PayPal transactions to be able to go through each one and figure out how much did I make and what did I spend money on and what of this is actually a write-off and what a freaking headache. So finally, last year, I got QuickBooks Self-Employed, which is like the best thing I've ever seen ever. The only thing I don't like about it is the categories for the expenses. Like they're not as specific as they could be, but I'm hoping at some point they make it so that you can actually make your own categories. But either way, QuickBooks Self-Employed has like changed my money tracking because it's easy to go in there and just go, this was a personal expense, this was a business expense, nice and simple, keeps it clean. And the other thing is that it tracks everything. So you can really go in and get an overview of like, okay, this is what my estimated taxes are. And, this is how much I've made already this year and it's projecting whatever. So having a good money tracking system is huge for staying organized as an authorpreneur and also getting to actually do write-offs on your taxes so that you're not paying tons of taxes on the money that you make as an author. So especially as you start growing in your career and you start making more money and selling more books, this is going to become more and more relevant for you. So last year was the first year that I'm having thousands of dollars from my book sales, which I haven't had previously. So last year was the first time. So I actually have, a 1099 that they sent me or whatever the form is, and it has the, information on there and all of that. But that's stuff that I made that I haven't paid taxes on yet because that's, it's accumulating over the course of the year. So that's something to keep in mind because that will be money you eventually have to pay taxes on. So if you know this ahead of time, you can actually make sure that you're doing enough write-off stuff. So the next thing would be to just know what you can write off. So not everything counts as a write-off, but a lot of stuff does. So this is why you need to find somebody who actually knows what they're doing. But some of the stuff that I write off for my writing business is like my website, any website expenses that I have, any hosting fees, any monthly subscriptions I have for things that I run for my business. So like anything that goes through PayPal, like I have a $20 a month fee for using automated like payments with PayPal. So that gets written off. And any, like if you take a loan or anything like that, you can write off the interest on it. Workshops that you take or any sort of courses that you take to actually further your knowledge and, your education, that can be as a write-off if it directly relates to your writing business. Any editors that you hire, any cover designers or any other professional services that you hire in order to help you, get your books put together and get them out there, that's a write-off because that's a service that you're using to help you actually put books out there that are things that you use to make money. So anything you have that ties back into what you do as a writer and in your writing business can totally be a write-off. So books that you buy, that you read, any supplies like, printers, notebooks, paper, whatever you need, that's a write-off. But really, again, it can be anything that connects to your business. So my next tip would be to actually find somebody who understands not just taxes, but someone who actually understands what it's like to run a digital/online business, because there is a difference. And I think people who just do brick and mortar businesses don't exactly understand that there are certain things that somebody who runs a digital business would have as an expense that maybe somebody else wouldn't. So like, for example, and this is crazy, but it's pretty awesome at the same time. So since I do story coaching, I work with clients on stories. I actually run a Facebook group/membership site where people pay to be part of this group and to be a member of it. And every month I do story deconstructions where I actually watch movies, break down the structure, do a whole write-up for everybody. And I do this every month for them. And so I last year got to write off half of my Netflix subscription because I use it for my business, because I use it to watch movies and do the deconstructions that get written up for my group. So that was a cool extra little expense that I got to write off last year, which was fun. So again, there's lots of different things you have to think about. So just keep track of the things that you're actually doing, the things that are adding to your writing business. And again, now the first couple of years you may not make a profit, but it's fine as long as you're not paying a ton of taxes. So if you can find ways to, spend, invest back in your business, invest back in yourself as a writer so that you don't have to deal with that as much. Now, of course, there will come a time where you make a lot more money, and then, of course, that's going to happen. So like last year, I pretty much replaced my day job income last year for the very first time, which was amazing. But, of course, that also meant I paid a lot more in taxes. That's the thing to keep in mind. But I also had the most write-offs last year than I have ever had before, because I've invested in more stuff for my business, more professional services to get help with things, to grow my business. And so it all starts to just accumulate. And then, of course, you get to a point where you feel like, okay, I feel like I'm happy with where I'm at. Like I know I'm going to grow bigger and bigger, but I'm happy with the way that I'm managing stuff right now. And I know that I'm doing a good job for the first time finally. So definitely, if you do nothing else, just have a really, really good system for tracking your money, because if you don't, it's going to be just a total disaster once you get to the point where you're actually making good money from your business. So hi, Heather. Travel expenses, even for events you're presenting at, not just attending. Yeah, exactly. Travel expenses. So if you're teaching at an event, or, if you're attending the event as a person who's actually just part of the workshop, that counts too. But if you're teaching, so like last year I taught at a workshop in Portland, they flew me out there. So that's not anything I get to write off because that was on them. But whatever whatever I had to cover for myself, like an extra night at the hotel and all of that, that got to be a write-off because I was traveling for my business and for my writing stuff. So that was just a quick live stream I just wanted to give you guys. I think, again, this is what's on my mind today because I was working on my taxes earlier, but it's just really, really important because I didn't take this part of my business seriously for a very long time, and I just kept putting it off and thinking it didn't matter, it's no big deal. And you shouldn't do that. You should never put your head in the sand about this kind of stuff, because what ends up happening is it actually puts you in a place where you get stuck or feel stagnant, because if you're not actively paying attention to things, then they don't grow. And so if you're not looking at your money, if you're not looking at your book sales every day, if you're not paying attention to that stuff, what ends up happening is that you just end up not making the sales that you want or not making the money that you want because you're not putting your focus on it. So last year, I feel like the thing that helped me to start making money from my books, more money from my books, was that I started paying attention to it. Every single day I would log into my KDP account, I would go to the reports, I would write down however many books I sold the day before. So I was literally tracking every single book sale for the whole month. And I would do this every single month. And I swear, once I started doing that, all of a sudden my book sales started taking off. So it's a sort of a thing with the mind. What you focus on expands. So that's why I say, don't hide your head in the sand about the money stuff. So I think as writers, a lot of the times we are not money people. I'm not numbers people. Like I'm not a numbers person at all. I suck at adding. I can't do math in my head to save my freaking life. Like I have to have a calculator for everything, or I count on my fingers still. Like it's ridiculous, but I'm a writer. I'm not a math person. So for me, for a long time, I just didn't think the money stuff was important. I didn't care to track it. I actually just gave myself the stress of every year around this time having to go back through hundreds and hundreds of pages of transactions to try to figure everything out. And last year, finally, I didn't do that. So this year, I'm actually in a better place than I was last year because I tracked everything. So that is my big tip for you guys today. And I just hope you'll take it seriously, because as you start going into your writing business, this is going to matter for you more and more. The other thing is, even if you're just starting out and you're not making money from your books yet or from your writing business, that doesn't mean you shouldn't pay attention to this stuff, because honestly, the best thing to do when you're starting out is to act as if you're already the author that you want to be. And so by doing that, you're actually not only, number one, putting the energy out there for the universe to say, I believe in myself, I believe that I'm going to be successful and that I'm going to treat it like I was already at that place, but then you're also just getting yourself into alignment with what you're going to need to do once you actually are making good money. So it's just train yourself from the beginning to track your income, to track your book sales, and to pay attention to your tax stuff. Because if you do that, when you get to the point where you're making a lot and you've got a good income from your books and all of that coming in, then you're not going to get stressed out trying to figure out what the hell to do because you've been doing it all along. So even if some days you go in and you have no sales, that's okay. Even if it's one or two, just write it down, keep track of it. Because I promise you, the more you do that, the more you focus on it, it will start to expand. So that's all I got for you today, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions or anything, put them in the comments, and I'd be happy to answer them for you. Heather, think about a trade of services. You can create web content for an accountant in exchange for some help. Now, the taxes will probably be more, but it establishes a relationship and does decrease your accounting bill. Yeah, absolutely. So anytime you can barter on something, so if you have some sort of a service you could trade with someone, that's never a bad thing to think about. I've done that a lot of times. I bartered with friends back in the day for editing services, for cover design services. Like actually one of my cover designs, my designer, he had a book that he wrote, so I read it and gave him feedback and, did like an edit for him. And in exchange, he did one of my book covers. So yeah, if you can barter, that's a great way to get your stuff out there and to not have to stress out about how you're going to pay for it. So, and actually in the future, I may do another live stream about how to make money from your writing and, that kind of thing. So, but today I just wanted to talk about the tax thing because that's what's on my mind. That's what's going on in my world. So I hope you're having a great day. I hope you had a great week and have a great weekend. If you are sticking around for my live streams every day, so I do them 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, I've got something really awesome coming up in the next couple of weeks. I'm doing a workshop on writing life rehab. So for anyone who hasn't been doing their writing, hasn't been getting it done, and has sort of just been procrastinating and just resisting it, this is going to be the workshop that is going to kick your ass into action. And anyone who's in my Best-Selling Author Mastermind group gets this workshop for free. So that workshop is actually happening in 2 weeks, and the Best-Selling Author Mastermind is opening the doors next week to new members. So be sure to get on the wait list if this is of interest to you, jenniferblanchard.net/mastermind. And I will catch you guys next week. Bye.